Back in May, Yankee Stadium was anything but intimidating to the young Royals. They stormed into the Bronx and took 2 out of 3 from a struggling Yankee team. But that was May. On Monday, the gray arrived, and we're not talking about the clouds. These Yankees are on a roll and have taken the first 2 games of the series, banging out 25 hits. Tonight, Bruce Chen tries to stop New York and win his 3rd straight start. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Royals fans will be seeing the 2 best teams in the American League this week, and the Yankees have won the first 2 at Kauffman Stadium. Tonight is the final game of this series before Boston comes to town. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And if you're going to be one of the best, you have to beat some of the best. And the Royals still have a ways to go. But, Frank, they're making progress against the elite teams like the Yankees.
And I think really that comes from just having no fear, just looking at the Yankees as if they're another team and going out and trying to play the game. And they had great success early in the year. And the first 2 games of this series, even though they didn't win these games, they battled all the way.
Royals have a chance to have a break-even year against the Yankees if they win tonight. They took 2 out of 3 in New York back in May, and that was the first time the Royals won a series there since 1999. They'll be facing Bartolo Colon, and eyebrows were raised when the Yankees signed him this offseason.
Well, he's been really good for the Yankees, and he's going to come at him with just sinkers and change of speed. But he's a very capable pitcher, very capable of winning. His last outing, he only allowed 2 earned runs.
In 2005, he won the Cy Young. Some of his numbers now are not as impressive as they were in 05, with the exception of 2. His earned run average is lower compared to 05, and his opponent's batting average is slightly lower than 2005. Melky Cabrera has been fired up facing his former team. He had 2 home runs in New York and homered again against the Yankees last night. That's 3 against New York this year. We'll take a look how the Yankees are lined up for tonight when we come back. by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. New York Yankees with 25 hits in the first 2 games of the series, and here's their batting order tonight.
Well, the Yankees sent Derek Jeter being the #1 spot at 2 hits and a couple RBI last night. Curtis Granderson having a great year, 33 home runs, 94 RBI, and 109 runs scored.
And here's how the Royals are lined up defensively, presented by Ram Trucks.
Well, the Royals defense, usually good outfield. And then at shortstop, Alcides Escobar has only got 2 ground balls so far in this series, but also leads all shortstops in the major leagues with 603 total chances.
Bruce Chen on the mound for the Royals. He is 4-1 at Kauffman Stadium this year, and he's won his last 2 starts. So those 2 numbers will come in handy tonight against the first place Yankees, and the first pitch is next. From beautiful Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. Royals are on the field. Bruce Chen is on the mound and getting ready with a 7-5 record this year. He is facing the Yankees for the first time. He was on the disabled list when the Royals were in New York in May. Bruce has won his last 2 starts. And in our key report tonight, looking back on what Bruce did against the White Sox on Friday, 1 hit in 6 innings, and the White Sox left 7 runners on base in those 6 innings. So he has now allowed 3 earned runs in 11 innings, covering his last 2 starts. There was a very unique play when Bruce Chen was on the mound against the White Sox. And with more on that, let's welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, we had that quick pitch that Bruce was called for. First time he's been called on that this year. And so over the last 48 hours, I talked to 1 umpire in the major leagues, and I also talked to 2 umpire supervisors. And interesting answers. The umpire said he just always wants to make sure no one's cheating, but for a quick pitch, the batter needs to be set. The first supervisor told me that a quick pitch can be called if the pitcher altered his regular motion or delivery to deceive the batter. The second supervisor told me it has nothing to do with the delivery at all. There are 2 criteria. One, if he's trying to deceive the batter to gain an advantage, and Bruce was doing that. And two, does the pitch happen before the hitter is set? Now, we saw the hitter being set, but he pointed out to me that that is the umpire's judgment. So as we see the first hit here on Bruce Chen, which was not a quick pitch but a quick hit, it is the umpire's judgment on that one. But I can tell you guys that the umpire supervisors discussed this on a conference call this week, not particularly Bruce's name, but it's something that's been happening in baseball. And I was told this: when 7 supervisors who are very opinionated former umpires get together, there's going to be a lot of disagreement. Guys?
So how does Bruce feel about trying it again tonight?
Well, I talked to Bob McClure about it, and I think that they will continue to try it again. My take on it, and when you talk to umpire supervisors, they're never going to say an umpire was wrong, right? I mean, they've got their back. My take on it was the home plate umpire, Mike Everett, in his judgment, thought the batter was set. We obviously saw it differently. It was very obvious that it was different, but sometimes guys miss calls at first base or second base by a step or two. I think that's all that happened.
All right, thanks, Joel. 1 ball, 1 strike to Curtis Granderson. Some of us remember a Royals-Yankees game years ago. Zach Greinke was on the mound, and he did a version of a quick pitch, and Bernie Williams was at the plate. As Granderson hits it foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And as a coincidence, Doug Eddings was the home plate umpire that night, and Doug Eddings went out to the mound and had a conversation with Zach. It came across as though he was scolding Zach for what he had done, and similar to what happened to Bruce Chen, the pitch was dead, no play happened. I don't remember a ball being assigned to Zach Greinke. It's just almost like they just threw the pitch again, but some of that gamesmanship, if you will, finding its way back into the game again.
Well, that's true. You remember Jim Cott. Jim Cott went with the hurry-up delivery but he did it on every pitch. So I think what happens is it shows up every now and then, and I think that's where the umpires are saying that maybe you're deceiving the batter, even though he's set, whether he's set or not. So I think that's really the difference right there.
Derek Jeter with his 6th hit of the series to open the game, and now Curtis Granderson, who's only had 1 hit.
Frank, it's interesting that you mentioned Jim Cott, because Bob McClure mentioned that exact name to me. So did one of the umpire supervisors. It worked for Jim Cott. Maybe you're right, we don't see it as much, but more players are doing it, perhaps doing it because they've seen Bruce Chen do it.
And now Bruce, part of a caught stealing 1-3-6 to get Derek Jeter, 1 out, nobody on.
Bruce will throw over as many as 4 straight times, just trying to guess right and catch the runner running, and Derek Jeter gets caught on this pickoff attempt from Bruce Chen.
Heads up, Joel. Curtis Granderson hits it into the fountains in right field for his 34th home run of the year, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
Up.
It's also his 95th RBI, which leads the league, and his 110th run scored, which leads the league.
Ryan, by heads up, you meant I was going to watch that go over my head.
That's right.
The folks down here with gloves had no chance.
And Granderson, we've been telling you all series, a big part of how he's played this year and the numbers he's put up has been his improvement against left-hand pitching. And that is his 12th home run this year against lefties. Before this year, the most home runs he had hit against a left-hand pitcher in a season was 5. 2 balls and 1 strike to Mark Teixeira. Teixeira, 2 hits, 3 walks, and jammed badly, and it's Bruce Chen calling for it. Hosmer did not give way to Bruce Chen, and the ball finds the grass.
Well, your first baseman's got priority over the pitcher in this situation, so if Eric Hosmer comes in and calls this off, then Bruce Chen's got to back away, and you can see 1 eye on the ball and 1 eye on Bruce Chen. You don't want to run into your starting pitcher. So this is just being really just a little over aggressive by Bruce Chen on this particular pop-up.
And now into shallow left center field, and Escobar going out, calling off Cabrera and Gordon, and there are 2 down. Another absolutely perfect night in Kansas City. It was 84 degrees last night, a little warmer, a little more humid tonight. Game started on time at 7:10, and the time and temp is brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. So 2 down, and now Robinson Cano. And while we're talking about rules and how it's interpreted in the rule book, there really is no way, if you use the rule book, to defend Robinson Cano and what he does in between pitches. Again, if you go by the rule book. Now, in the event of a quick pitch or something like that, again, it comes down to the umpire's discretion, but there is no discretion on the part of the umpire whether a batter steps out of the box or not. I mean, is there any way for Chad Fairchild to see or to interpret that Robinson Cano is not out of the batter's box?
Well, that 1 foot in and 1 foot out just doesn't work.
Rule 6.02, letter A, the batter shall take his position in the batter's box promptly when it is his time at bat, and he is supposed to always keep at least 1 foot in the box in between pitches. There are a few exceptions. If the batter intentionally leaves the batter's box and delays play, and none of the exceptions, which we'll go over in the rule, the umpire shall award a strike without the pitcher having to deliver the pitch. So it's the reverse effect of a quick pitch, where the pitcher breaks a rule, it costs him a ball. If the batter breaks a rule, it causes him a strike. So that's one of the things, if the umpires in the league are going to complain about how long it takes the Yankees to play games, I mean, that's not anybody's discretion there. And Cano at times will go all the way to the grass, and there's nothing in the rule book that allows the hitter to leave the dirt and go onto the grass.
I agree.
All right, now that we got that figured out,
now it's about implementing it.
For instance, if Cano swings, he's allowed in between pitches to leave the box. If there's a pitch up and in and he falls backward or has to leave the box,
right,
he can do that. If the pitcher leaves the dirt around the mound, he is permitted to leave the box. Now, Nick Swisher stays in the box in between pitches. If Bruce Chen were to throw over to first base and try and pick off a runner, the batter can leave the batter's box. But if the pitch comes in, it's called a strike or called a ball, as it is to Swisher. The batter is always supposed to keep 1 foot in the box. So Nick Swisher, even though he doesn't go far away, that's a violation. And all those exceptions I just listed, the hitter is never supposed to leave the dirt. So you can start there. One and two on Swisher.
Well, you know, if they always kept 1 foot in the box, then that means the pitchers will work a little bit faster too, and that'll keep the game moving.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swisher on Monday night hit that bizarre single to center field. It was a line drive as a left-hand batter that was headed to right center. Melky Cabrera was on it, and then it took a left turn. Looked like a slice in a golf shot, and Melky was able, at the very minimum, to keep the ball in front of him. He wasn't able to make the catch, but what looked like an out turned out to be a single and a 2-run inning for the Yankees. Just in case you missed it on Monday night.
You don't get to see this very often. This is a rarity in baseball here. Kind of like your golf swing.
My golf swing?
Your golf swing. That's a left-hander's golf swing. It goes down and it goes back the other way. Mine would go the opposite. Mine would go to center field and move to Francoeur.
Cano at first will be running with 2 outs and a full count. Well, and Bruce Chen picked off Derek Jeter, which eventually it was a caught stealing as Jeter made a move to second. That's why Bruce claims that he throws over there so often, that while it might drag the game down a bit, he knows eventually the runner will go and the runner will assume, well, he's not going to throw over again. And Swisher walks for the 76th time this year, and the Yankees have 2 on with 2 out. So Jeter singled and then caught stealing. Granderson homered. Teixeira popped out, and now a single and a walk. And Andrew Jones digs in. Jones, the Yankees DH against lefties. Jorge Posada is the designated hitter against right-hand pitching. A little bit inside, ball 1. A couple of former teammates here with the Atlanta Braves. And last night, I was surprised, Frank wasn't, that Andrew Jones was only 34 years old, because it seems like he's been around forever. But he did get to the big leagues when he was 19 years old.
Well, that's a full career, and I can see why you think he'd be older. But he got here younger, but his skills sort of went a little faster too than you would normally think for a guy that was that athletic when he came in the game. The weight went, obviously he's heavier now than when he first signed with the Braves, and I remember when he went to the Dodgers as a free agent, it just seems like his offense never could get going again, and just last year he started to come back in a reduced role and become a more effective player.
2 balls and 1 strike. He had 51 home runs in 05, 41 home runs in 06, and there's the decline that Frank was talking about. 222 in 07, 158 in 08 with only 3 home runs. He was hurt a lot of that year, and 214 the year after that. Remember a few years ago, the Royals were chasing after both Torrey Hunter and Andrew Jones to play center field. Jones taking a short-term contract, 2 years as a free agent with the Dodgers, and Torrey Hunter getting the long-term contract with the Angels. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So 2 runners will be going as Jones takes down and in, and the bases are loaded. So Bruce is on the hook for 30 pitches already, and he'll be facing his 7th batter in the inning, Yankees catcher Russell Martin. Two hits, couple of RBIs for Martin. The Royals have struck him out 5 times in the first 2 games. And a breaking ball in for strike 1. Cano at third, Swisher at second, Jones at first. Oh and 2.
Well, Raw's starters in this series so far in the first 2 games haven't been able to get past the 5th inning, and so it really would help that bullpen if Bruce can get deep in this ball game.
Danny Duffy 3 innings last night. Felipe Paulino 5 1/3 on Monday as Royal starters. As Martin lifts it to right field, playable for Francoeur. So the Yankees get 1, but they leave the bases loaded. top of the first inning, and now here are the Royals tonight against Bartolo Colon.
Well, Alex Gordon will lead off, and Melky Cabrera, 16 home runs, 73 RBIs, lead the league. The team will be in batting second, and Jeff Franco had a good night last night, and Jeff is hitting 12 of 13 games.
Facing now 38-year-old Bartolo Colon. 5'11", 267 at least. 8-6 this year. This is his 19th start. He made the Yankees out of the bullpen, but he's only had 3 relief appearances. He's had quite a career. He has 52 games above 500 with 116 wins. 15-8 against the Royals. That's his second most wins against one team. He has 17 against the Rangers. And here at Kauffman Stadium back in 2003, he won his 100th career game. That was much more memorable, I'm sure, than a start he made here in 2000 when he tied a major league record by walking the first 4 hitters of a game. So he has good and bad memories of Kauffman Stadium.
Well, Bartolo's one of those guys that get the ball up around 98 miles an hour when he was younger and throwing hard. But now he's after his surgery, and he's still at 94. That's pretty good speed when you've been hurt and had surgery on that shoulder.
Alex just 1 out of 7 in the first 2 games. 2 runs scored and an RBI. He is batting at .296. Change up a little bit outside, 2-2. Because this is such a young team, there are very few Royals who have ever faced Bartolo Colon. And Billy Butler, who is batting 3rd tonight, has the most, and that's just 8 at-bats. Still 2-2. So as a hard breaking ball down and in, and strikes out Alex Gordon to begin the game. 1 away, and now Ram Trucks will show us the Yankees defensively.
A very good outfield the Yankees are putting out there tonight, and you look on the infield, you look at Mark Teixeira at first base, and he had a nice diving stop to his left in the 6th inning against Escobar, and it's Bartolo Colon and Russell Martin.
Melky Cabrera with 1 out, and a 9-game hitting streak for Melky after the first pitch, and that leads Teixeira to the bag, 2 down. Tonight is a carsoup.com email the booth night, so go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, CarSoup will ask for your zip code. Fill that in. You'll be sent to a different page where you can submit your question. And in the top of the 5th inning, Joel will be joining us with your questions. Billy Butler in this batter's box back in 2007. Got his first big league hit against Bartolo Colon. His first major league at bat, a ground ball into left field. Billy has hit in 5 in a row. He has 2 RBIs in this series. 2 balls and no strikes. Two and 1. Still has the late movement. Wow. That is a glove. That is a big glove.
I think he half wants to be an umpire. Also, he's got a mask that he puts on and calls balls and strikes every now and then too.
Here you go. Billy Butler retired tonight. He'd be the only player in Major League history to have his first and last hit against Bartolo Colon with a base hit to left field.
Is he going? Just a breaking ball that stayed inside, and Billy does a good job. He stayed back, waited on it, hands went back, front foot landed, and he gets through this pitch very well. That's always one of the big keys to Billy's swing, is that front foot getting down in time to recognize what he's swinging at.
Outside to Eric Hosmer, facing a pitcher 17 years older than he is. Royals didn't see Colon when they were in New York in May. Hosmer 2 out of 8 in the first 2 games with a double. 2-0.
Yeah, Bartolo Colon used to be a power pitcher. I mean, he would just come at you with just great fastballs, and he loves to pitch. He uses fastball on both sides of the plate, but now he relies a lot more on movement. Fastball down and away, changeup down and away, and slider down underneath the swing of the left-handed hitter.
Two and one. He was one of those guys, I remember with the Indians, where he'd be throwing 94 in the first inning and be throwing 98 in the 7th inning.
I mean, he was a horse. I mean, he just go right after you.
Again, Teixeira, who slips, and instead of going to the bag, he goes to Hosmer, and that ends the inning. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. 1-0 Yankees on Curtis Granderson's first inning home run, his 34th of the year. Eduardo Nunez leads off against Bruce Chen. He'll be followed by Brett Gardner and then Derek Jeter. One hop backhanded by Escobar. Man, he makes that play look easy. Only about the 10th time he's done that this year. And Nunez is a tough luck out.
I think what you see here is a guy that's so confident in his fielding that this is a difficult ball to catch, and sometimes you can rush yourself and get in a hurry, but he makes his play. He really takes his time, sets himself, and then makes his throw. And I think that's what makes him kind of special at shortstop.
Frank, talk more about that play, because if that ball got past Escobar, we would have said, well, it was well hit. It ate him up. That's a tough play. But for him, it's not a tough play. How come?
Well, it's not a tough play for him because he uses drop step. A lot of times when an infielder would stay in his same position, then he would just spin out. But see him drop the right foot back. That made that hop longer, gave him a little bit more time to look at it, and then he was able to catch it. Now, if you stay there in your fielding position, and that's when you see what we call lay the ball, and just guys will spin out and the ball will get by. But if you utilize your drop step, the hop gets longer, you see the ball longer, and it makes that play easier to make.
Now Brett Gardner, who's had a heck of a series against the Royals, and he's been doing it all year against KC. Another Yankee hitter that takes quite a bit of time in between pitches. Having a little chat with home plate umpire Chad Fairchild. Gardner is 9 out of 19 against the Royals this year, and he fights that one off. Escobar going to have to hurry with Gardner's speed. It's close, but out. 2 away. Boston Red Sox in town beginning tomorrow night, and then on Friday it's another Fireworks Friday, a 7:10 game with Boston. And be sure to stay after the game for a great fireworks show presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. For more details, visit Royals.com/fan value. Two down to Derek Jeter. He singled in the first. So 6 hits and 11 at-bats for him in this series. In the first 2 games, Alcides Escobar got 2 ground balls, and he didn't get his first ground ball until the 7th inning last night. And now 2 in a row here in the second. He pointed that out to us during batting practice.
Well, that's when you said that's the guy that wants some action in the game. He doesn't want to stand around and not be involved. And the one thing I like about him, Ronnie, a lot of guys on balls, they'll catch the ball and then work the throw. He gets the ground ball. He gets his feet in position first. So when he's able to go through the ball, he's already ready to throw. So he really uses his feet well to set up every play that he makes.
3 in a row. Jeter is out, and a good comeback inning for Chen in the second. Francoeur, Johnny Giavotella, and Salvador Perez in the bottom of the second against Bartolo Colon. This is Francoeur's first career at bat against Colon. And in the first 2 games against the Yankees, Francoeur has 5 hits. At the knees, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can see the action on that fastball down. It just starts it on the outside corner and it runs back in. So we probably won't get nothing straight unless it's a fastball on the inner half where it go to four-seamer.
Busted bat. Colon plays it to first, but home plate umpire Chad Fairchild says that Colon caught it on the fly, so it's a line drive back to the mound and one away. Very simple sprint you call it question for tonight. Will a team win 100 games this year? Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space, followed by A for yes, B for no. There's only one team right now that is on pace to win 100 or more, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies. We're only talking about the regular season. Philadelphia with 78 wins, on pace to win 102. 1 ball, 1 strike on Giavotella. The Yankees and the Red Sox have the second most wins behind Philadelphia. Those two teams are on pace to win 97. Colon, good movement. He's hitting the corners. Staying ahead of just about everybody. 1 and 2 on Giavotella. Frank, what do you think?
Well, Ron, I think Boston and New York, they play each other quite a few more times before the season's over. So it depends on how that split goes. And the same way with Philadelphia and Atlanta. Both teams are well over 500, and they'll play each other quite a bit. And the team that I really didn't think too much about was Milwaukee. And, you know, as Kevin Shank pointed out, the strength of schedule in the Central there, they may have an outside shot at it. So if you ask for one team, I would say the Brewers.
The Brewers.
I'm reaching out there, way out there. Strength of schedule I'm looking at.
You are going out on a limb.
That's pretty good, Frank. Not just a yes or a no, but going out there with the Brewers.
Yeah. What about you, Joel?
Well, my choice won't be as exciting, but I'm going to go with Philadelphia. I say yes. In many ways, Philadelphia has become like the Yankees used to be in the American League, with all the other teams trying to play catch-up as far as talent and money spent goes. And obviously San Francisco won it last year, and the Brewers are having an unbelievable year, and they are loaded. But this is a team that has Halladay and Lee. Johnny Giavotella strikes out there. But, I mean, guys, they're loaded at every position. And then they went out there and got Hunter Pence at the deadline, one of the better outfielders in baseball. They, to me, are the best team in baseball on paper, and so far they've shown that.
And those are the best records in baseball. Joel, by the way, is a Philadelphia native. But I'm going to go with him because I've heard some scouts that follow both leagues say that, you know, we know about the Phillies pitching, but a lot of scouts will say they haven't started hitting yet. And looking at where they are in the National League, they're 9th in hitting, 7th in runs scored, 8th in home runs, 9th in stolen bases. So they're not bad offensively, but they're certainly not at the top of the charts in those departments. So if they continue to pitch as they are and they hit, I think Philly's going to win 100 games.
It's been a lot of years since I lived in Philadelphia, let's make that clear. And back when I was 8 years old, I did root for my Phillies over the Royals, but I rooted for Frank too.
Yeah, I'll bet you did.
Yeah.
Because you knew one day.
One day.
Royals down in order in the second against Cologne. quit line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Diamond Club, which opened during the Kauffman Stadium renovation, a popular spot right behind home plate. And this is a fan that sits in the crown seats of the Crown Club, who showed up tonight with his umpire gear on, his mask, and the world's biggest glove. Curtis Granderson leading off against Bruce Chen, and Granderson's ball was floating around in the fountains after he made contact in the first inning for his 34th home run of the year. So he is still second in the league to Jose Bautista, who has 35 for the Blue Jays. But Granderson, and you talk about a productive player, he leads the league in RBIs and runs scored. He is a run producer. Drilled to right field again. That ball had a lot of topspin on it, so it hits the screen in front of the fence. And Granderson working on a cycle. He has a home run and a double in the first 3 innings. That ball has any backspin at all. He has his second home run.
I agree with you, Ryan. He gets right on top of it and gets right above it and just gets out there and turns over. Not much stride. Lets the ball get there and just rotates and gets through it very well. The thing I noticed about Granderson this year is that he's not over aggressive. It's almost like he's trusted his hands to work for him. He's letting the ball travel and using his hands, and the ball's jumping off his bat very well.
Mark Teixeira popped out to short his first time up after the Royals didn't handle an earlier pop-up. Just off the first base line, Bruce Chen and Eric Hosmer almost collided. Now this is a guy who's taken bad swings against Bruce Chen tonight. But before tonight, in 16 at-bats, now 17, 9 hits, 6 home runs. Hit hard to center. Melky's on it. Hardly had to move. Granderson didn't have time to get back and tag. Runner at second with 1 out. Follow every Royals game through Game Connect at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. And as you watch the game on TV, you can join the conversation about the game on Twitter. You can track trends and stats at Game Connect. Find it at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. Robinson Cano single to left field in the first inning. He has a 9-game hitting streak, 5 hits in the series, and 4 RBIs. Pulls that to Giavotella. So 2 outs with Granderson going to third. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And the division leaders in the American League, the Yankees with a full game now as Boston was shut out by David Price at home earlier today. Tigers with a 3-game lead in the Central. Rangers 6-game lead in the West, starting to separate themselves from the Angels. And the biggest lead, even though they're not a division leader, but the biggest lead is the Red Sox in the wild card, 6-game lead. Next closest team to them would be the Angels. Make that Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay second in the wild card, and then the Angels. Nick Swisher with a 2-out RBI, driving in Granderson, who opened the inning with a double. And the Yankees have a 2-0 lead.
Think about the curveball that's got to go down hard. Bruce leads his curveball up, out over the plate, and Swisher drives it right back through the middle. So you got to get depth, the way to go down underneath the right-hander swing and try to get him to roll over on it and hit a ground ball to third, a ground ball to short.
And now Andrew Jones hit on the foot. Chad Fairchild says no. Well, Chad Fairchild is going to go ask another umpire. See, now what's wrong with that? I mean, even if Chad Fairchild went to another umpire, none of the other three saw it, and we haven't even seen the replay. What is the harm in going and asking another umpire that might have seen it differently?
Well, that's true, and I mean, this curveball goes to the back foot. It's almost like he doesn't track the ball all the way. You see where his head is versus where the ball is, and that's why that right foot doesn't move like it should move. Last night, Danny Duffy threw a curveball down and then Aaron Jones and also hit him on the back foot.
So a very unselfish move by the home plate umpire to check in with the first base umpire, Doug Eddings, who had a better look, looking right down the first base line.
Well, it's kind of difficult now with the way the shoes are. They don't use real shoe polish. When we play, we use real shoe polish, and if you got hit on the foot, you'd have a blue mark on the baseball or a black mark if you or another team that uses real shoe polish. But now the shoes today, they're not built that way, so you have to get help from the other umpire when you can.
If they ask for it.
Are they stubborn?
2-1 to Russell Martin. He flied out to right field in the first inning.
Well, when you throw a pitch inside to the right hand, that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to come in, and you want the right-handed hitter to hit around it and get your ground ball. You leave it out over the plate, they get through it, and that's when the line drives come.
Two and two.
Well, Bruce has got a good cutter, but he's got to utilize it sort of like Mariano Rivera uses his to the right-handed hitters. He's got to kind of keep it on the same plane as the hands and try to get in there and jam him. If it goes down any, now it becomes a hittable pitch to a right-handed hitter.
And that one stayed out over the plate. Martin couldn't pull the trigger. Yankees add a run in the third. O'Neill legacy seat at tonight's game. Normally, Doris watches the Royals while she sews and knits. She knits baby blankets, hats, and scarves for new mothers at Truman Medical Center and won an award from Cancer Action for her donation of homemade bed sheets, medication bags, and nursing pads. Also famous for making pillowcase dresses for mission trips throughout the world. So we're glad she's here tonight, and Buck would be proud to have her sitting in his seat. In fact, if Buck were still with us, he might get out of his seat and say, "Young lady, have my seat."
Especially if she had a red dress
That's
on.
right. Mike Moustakis cranks it to deep right field and off the top of the wall. Just missed a home run. He is at second base with the double.
We'll take a look at Mike here. This is one of the few times Ron he really slows his body down and gets his hands through the zone. And this is where he's been trying to get to for a long time here. Body stays back, hands goes out front, get good follow through, and get that good carry on the ball when it leaves the bat.
So his seventh double, his eighth extra base hit, getting us to Alcides Escobar. Running up to bunt. The Yankees were already thinking along that way. Both Teixeira at first and Nunez at third were in. Two hits, 2 runs scored for Escobar in the first 2 games. And he goes the other way. Teixeira almost took another hit away from him as he did last night. Escobar might have run out and tackled Mark Teixeira if he made that play. Teixeira with a game-saving play against Escobar late last night. Tonight he got his glove on it, and Escobar ends up with a single.
Well, the fake bunt early in the first pitch really brought the infield in, and that's why this base hit came. But I was always of a mind that you're down by more than 1 run. You don't want to give that out away on a bunt. You want to go ahead and try to get a base hit and switch places with the guy at second base. So I was happy to see Escobar switch from the bunt and go with the base hit.
So runners at the corners with nobody out. Alex Gordon struck out in the first inning. And Colon is doing an outstanding job tonight of staying at the knees or lower with just about every pitch.
Yeah, he's keeping it down, and everything's moving. It's moving away from the left-handed hitters and backdooring it to the right-handers on the outside corner.
Blocked by Martin. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alex is due for a big hit. The Yankees have held him down so far. He's just 1 out of 8 with 1 RBI. $18 stolen bases for Escobar. He has been thrown out 7 times. Royals in this series are 1 out of 5 against Russell Martin in stolen base attempts. They were 8 for 8 in the previous series over the weekend in Chicago. Of course, the White Sox catchers don't throw like Russell Martin does. Martin threw out, or was part of 3 caught stealing on Monday. 2-1.
What Colon is trying to do right here is he wants to run that fastball down and away from Alex and hopefully get Alex to try to roll over on and get a ground ball to second base. But Alex has been taking that pitch of late and driving it in the left center field.
Going the other way and fouls it away. The pitch that got Alex in the first was a hard slider down and in. Or as it is referred to in baseball lingo, a back foot slider. Fastball is fouled away, still 2-2. Yankees with one in the first, one in the third. Royals have runners at first and third with nobody out. There's the pitch. This time Alex wouldn't go for it, and it's 3-2.
Oh, Escobar should be running on this pitch.
He is, and Alex jolts it into deep right center field and puts the Royals in front. Splash into the water. Delivered.
Well, it was a very good at bat. He fouled off some pretty tough pitches and battled to a 3-2 count and got the pitch he liked and drove it into right center field. I mean, you can tell right away as soon as this ball is hit where it's going to end up. I mean, this ball is right down the middle of the plate, up, fastball. Didn't have much on as far as movement. And Alex Jordan hit it deep into the water in right center field.
And now Melky goes the other way, and Gardner, a very good defensive left fielder, runs it down for the first out. Melky is 0 for 2. So the bats were quiet in the first 2 innings, and now it's become loud at Kauffman Stadium for the Royals here in the third.
Well, you got to get the crowd into this game, and it's a two-seam fastball. It starts to go away, but didn't have it. It was just up in the zone, and Alex does a great job just getting out, getting extended through this fastball up, and you see the power of Alex Gordon right there. When he knows a fastball's coming, he can hit it out of any ballpark.
Billy Butler singled to left in the first inning for a 6-game hitting streak. And that's hit well to left center. Gardner is back again and just barely stays in the ballpark. The umpires are calling it a home run. And Curtis Granderson and Brett Gardner are screaming in the outfield that it did not go out. So Billy can celebrate the home run trot for now, but stay tuned. It was Billy Butler, remember, with the walk-off home run against the Angels that was first ruled a double and then reversed to a home run. Who knows? This one might go the other way.
Well, if it's not a home run, they wasted a whole bunch of fireworks on this one.
So Joe Girardi is going to go out and talk to the umpire that made the call, crew chief Dana DeMuth. And no matter what happens here, we have to point out, and we learned from Billy's walk-off home run against the Angels, that there's a lot going on in the outfield as far as crossbars and railing and padding. And so whether he's right or wrong, there's quite a bit to contend with, deciding whether the ball goes over the back railing there, and then you see the green padding. If it goes over that, it's a home run, but right behind it, or at least it looks right behind it from this angle, is the blue steel railing. If it hits the green padding and stays in, it is not a home run. If it hits the blue iron rail and comes back in, it's a home run, and they will review it. So right now, the ruling is a home run for Billy Butler. Nope.
On top of the thick padding and came back.
Yep. Top of the padding of the wall, and then it looked like it hit the front of the padding of the railing. Now, Billy normally, when he's done hitting, puts his blue sweatshirt on. And that's how he stays warm, even if it's hot in between at-bats. But I think Billy knows he's going to have to put his helmet on and go back out to second base. The umpires go over the ground rules before every series, and I'm sure it has been brought up that there is a railing behind the fence, and a ball has hit that railing and come back in. And maybe that's what Dana DeMuth was assuming when he saw the ball, at least from his sideline, disappear for a moment and come back in. It must have hit that railing behind the screen, but it did not. Kind of a surprise, haven't figured this one out yet already. It's also a good opportunity to go inside and get a cold drink.
Well, you can see it clearly hits the padding before the home run fence and bounces back in onto the playing surface.
Does Billy look like he's ready to go run? I don't see a helmet in either one of his hands. Ned Yost on the other end of the dugout is standing on the stairs. So maybe he's assuming that this call could be overruled and he's going to want to go out and see what the umpires had to say. This is a long review. So far, 4.5 minutes. So unless they're experiencing some sort of technical difficulties in the little area where they do the reviews, you have to wonder, what are they watching down there? Or they could also be reviewing the ground rules just to make sure that, okay, it did not clear the screen that that gentleman is leaning on. So let's just make sure we have the ground rules correct. So what'd you have for dinner, Frank? Here come the umpires. Dana DeMuth. Wow, they've called it a home run. Wow. Billy Butler, there he is, and I don't think it's a shock that the Royals are smiling about that. Chad Fairchild now, the home plate umpire, is screaming over at the Yankees dugout, telling him to keep his players under control because they are livid. Now, because of today's technology, it doesn't take very long for somebody to relay the information from that particular team's video room to the dugout.
Well, that could easily become a game played on a protest if Joe Girardi chooses to do that.
Chad Fairchild, by the way, if I recall correctly, he did not go in with the other 3 guys. So
well, you take a good look at it right here. This is live right here. Billy was able to get a base hit on the same pitch the last time, the fastball coming in. But you can see right there clearly this ball does not leave the ballpark.
So 2 home runs in the inning for the Royals. At least that's what it says on the scorecard. And a 4-2 lead, and now 1 ball, 1 strike to Eric Hosmer. And the Yankees are still screaming in their dugout. 1-2. Now I'll let Kevin Schenk correct me in my ear if I'm wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, somebody in New York is taping this game. They're taping our feed and the Yankees feed. And when a play like this occurs, the umpires don't get a feed at that point from us or from the Yes Network. They're getting a feed from New York, who has been watching what we've been showing. So that's how the umpires get the replays, with the office being in New York, where the games are being recorded and then sent back to a spot in every stadium where the umpires go for a review. And the only thing I can think of would be that because the office is in New York, maybe they're only watching the other broadcast tonight and they didn't get a very good look at it, because our angle was crystal clear.
It was crystal clear. The ball stayed in the ballpark for sure.
That's the only thing I can come up with. No proof. Hosmer strikes out, and that's 3 for Colon.
This inning started off with Mike had a nice swing on this ball here. Now this Gordon comes back with a home run to right center field, deep in the water, and Butler capped it off with a home run to left center field.
Just watching the replay of Mike Moustakas' double. Bartolo Colon turned to the umpire and he wanted a new ball. He thought it was a home run. So 4-2 Royals, and now 2-0 to Jeff Francoeur.
It's really nice to see Moose get through a baseball and drive it. Hopefully that'll be the base hit will get him going and get him feeling more comfortable at the plate.
Two balls and 1 strike. Moustakas and Escobar both coming around to score on Alex's home run. Three and 1 in a 26-pitch inning for Bartolo Colon. Walk, and that's Colon's first. So 28 pitches this inning, after only needing 30 to get through the first 2. Giavotella struck out looking against Colon in the second inning. On the ground to Cano. He'll flip to Jeter, and that's the inning. A big inning for the Royals in the third. Gordon and Butler going deep against Colon. And now we look at the wideband internet pitch speeds brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Up to 50 megabits per second of pure online power. Bartolo Colon has been providing the power, but Bruce Chen has the lead. Eduardo Nunez hit it right on the nose in the second inning, but nice backhand play by Escobar at short to throw him out. And now it's Moustakas on one hop. He was playing on the edge of the grass, one away. Official 2012 All-Star gear is now available at the Majestic Team Store at Kauffman Stadium. The team store is open throughout the homestand, so come get your All-Star gear today. And now Brett Gardner, he also grounded out to short his first time up. Today was the official press conference and the announcement of Bubba Starling signing with the Royals, their first round pick this year. And he'll be joining us in the bottom half of this inning. So this is the official signing where he puts on a Royals jersey and cap for the first time, although I think he's probably worn a Royals cap before. One ball, two strikes. Two and two. Bruce Chen gave up a home run to Curtis Granderson in the first inning, and then Nick Swisher drove in a run in the third. Three and two. Popped up left side. And Alex comes up from left to call off Escobar, two down. Pepsi Max is giving fans the opportunity to build their own Field of Dreams team. You could win a chance to play ball with some of the game's greatest. Visit MLB.com/Pepsi Max for details. And remember, if you build it, they will come. Pepsi Max. So two down to Derek Jeter, who is 1 out of 2. Oh, 1. Jeter has 4 home runs. If he hits 6 more before the end of the year, he will tie a major league record with 16 straight seasons with at least 10 home runs and at least 10 stolen bases. He already has 13 stolen bases. 4 balls and 2 strikes. Barry Bonds is the only other player that has gone 16 consecutive years with a minimum of 10 home runs and 10 stolen bases. And that's whacked into left center field. Jeter has his second hit, his 7th of the series, and he'll hold with the double.
Bruce Lee just change up. Just I'll tell you what, just look at this pitch go to the inside part of the plate, and Jeter was sitting there waiting on it, just left it up on the inner half, and well, Could he throw his hands up on that one and say,
I don't think so.
dead
I think
ball?
It came back out. It was wedged for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
That was not under the padding. Could have tried, but Jeter would have continued running, and
yeah, it would have been disastrous.
He would have had egg on his face.
Hey, one thing about Bruce's changeup, you just got to make it go down and away, right? That was a straight changeup. It stayed up on the inner half of the plate.
Outside to Curtis Granderson, who's working on a cycle. Homered in the first inning, his 34th of the year, and then doubled in the third and came around to score. One ball, one strike. Coming up on Sunday, it's our third University Day. It's K-State Day here at Kauffman Stadium, so all Wildcats fans are invited to take advantage of special ticket prices and join us for special pregame activities. Go to Royals.com/K-State for more information. Curveball, and Perez held it out there for home plate umpire Chad Fairchild. 2-1.
Ryan, you're like Curtis Granderson. He hasn't left the box yet. He'd be one of your favorite guys tonight.
He already was. And he continues to be. That breaking ball called for a strike, and it's 2-2. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. We have a couple of left-hand batters in the lineup for the Yankees. Granderson and Cano in particular that are very good against left-hand pitching. And Bruce Chen is a bit atypical when it comes to the book, if you will, the so-called book, where he is actually better against right-hand hitters than he is lefties. Lefties hitting over 300 against him this year. And Cano and Granderson are a combined 3 out of 4. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. When the Royals come up in the bottom of the 4th inning, we're going to be joined by Bubba Starling, Royals first-round pick, who was announced as a member of the organization earlier today. Right side, Giavotella, diving play to Chen right at the bag. An outstanding play by Giavotella to save a run in the 4th. and a run away from the Yankees. A diving play, a great feed to Bruce Chen. And then quite a bit of excitement before the game today as Bubba Starling was announced as a member of the organization. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Bubba. Thanks a lot. Just really excited to get up here and finally get to meet everyone and meet the coaches, just everyone. I'm really excited.
I know fans and the Royals are relieved. Is that a good word to describe how you feel?
Definitely relieved. This was a stressful process, but it was fun also. I had two great options in going to one Nebraska, one coming here. And at the end of the day, I just felt like I should start my baseball career.
Salvador Perez, 3 balls, 1 strike now. Growing up here and being a Royals fan, you're obviously aware that there are a lot of guys in the big leagues right now that aren't a whole lot older than you are.
I know there's a lot of young talent, especially with the Royals. So I'm just excited to start playing with them hopefully in a few years.
You have any idea what to look forward to going to Arizona?
As far as Arizona and all the minor leagues, teams, it's going to be a grind. But that's just part of minor league baseball. And I'm excited, ready for the new challenge. And just can't wait to play with all the new guys. It was funny because inning before that, I'm down beneath the clubhouse, and Billy actually came in there, and I said, "Hey, why don't you get a home run your next at bat?"
Oh, okay.
And he hit a bomb after that.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool.
Well, when we're done, we'll let you go back down there again, and you can talk to a few other guys.
Yeah.
Before the draft, and you had an idea, obviously, you're going to be drafted high, but before you knew where you were going and the type of money that would be involved, did you have a feeling before the draft where you might be leaning, or was it still up in the air?
I always loved baseball growing up. It was my first love. But then there was also Nebraska, playing football there. But definitely after the Kansas City Royals drafted me, I knew that I was leaning more that way towards the Royals a little bit. And I'm just glad we got the deal done finally. So,
how big a Royals fan were you?
Huge Royals fan. I used to come here when I was a little kid and just admire all the players. I remember watching Joe Randa a lot. Just being down there in the seats, though, just thinking, gosh, I would love to play up here someday. And, special moments. So special time.
Well, you're off and running now, big guy. That's for sure.
That's exciting, man.
Hey, I saw a picture of you earlier in the summer in your farm pond with a huge catfish.
Yeah.
What'd you end up doing with that?
My dad actually filleted it, and we ate it. It was a big old catfish. I enjoy, fishing out there and catching some big fish. Some people make fun of me for, eating and filleting the catfish, but that's just how we do it. It's fun.
I understand.
And good to eat, too.
Did you get a weight on it?
It was right at 40 pounds.
It was huge.
Wow.
It was a big guy. Yep.
And that was out of a pond?
It was out of the pond behind my house, my Uncle Gary's. So.
Now, I think people know that Frank and I are not the biggest guys in the world. So standing next to you, are you eating out of that pond too?
Maybe it's a catfish. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
But your name's has come up for quite a bit. I mean, well before this year. And I remember people asking me, and having been here 13 years, nobody's ever asked me about a local high school guy. You think the Royals will take so-and-so, and of course it was you. Was it hard for you to concentrate this past year as Moustakas picks up his second hit of the night, knowing that all eyes were on you from the beginning of your year through all the sports you played?
It wasn't too hard, just considering, the town where I'm from, it's fairly small. It's starting to get bigger, but most of the people there looked up to me, looked at me all the time. I was always, the big guy there, whatever, and I always had to be good on and off the field. So I would say just, getting to stay close here is pretty cool, and having all the great fan support, it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah. Hey, was it your hopes that the Royals would draft you?
I was hoping, that fifth pick, the first 4 passed by, and I was at my uncle's house, and they had 5 minutes left, and it got down to like 2 minutes, and then I was just like, what are the chances of staying home? And I'm blessed that they drafted me. So
just 2 minutes.
2 minutes, man. I was nervous.
You weren't the only one. Now we know you're here with your family, but is there a Gardner Edgerton group here tonight somewhere? Some high school pals?
Yeah, there's I got a few coaches down there, like 224 section, and most of my family's up there. There's a few other Gardner people here, just watching the game and getting to see me. So it's pretty cool. Both of my best friends are somewhere down over there, so it's a good deal.
We had heard that you could have gone anywhere in the first round, especially in the upper third, obviously. Did you have any idea? Was there, and you don't have to name any names, but was there a particular team that you thought, boy, they really seem to want me if I'm available?
Not really. There was a lot of different teams at all my games, and I didn't really concentrate on where I was going to get drafted. I just went out there every day and worked my tail off, and then after that, just once the season got over, then we could start talking about where I was going to get drafted, or who's looking at me, this and that. But just as far as during the season, I just concentrated on doing the best I could, so didn't really let all those other distractions mess with me.
1-1 to Escobar, and now 2 balls and 1 strike.
What do you think? You think you'll miss football and basketball, and I mean the excitement of going to the minor leagues in Arizona and not having those big crowds watch you play,
right.
It diminishes quite a bit. So you're going to have to be a very self-motivated guy when you go down there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really going to miss playing all those sports, of course, but as far as just playing baseball, I'm going to be that much better because I get to concentrate on baseball all year round, and I'm just so excited for that. So just to see how good of a player I can be. Plus, with all the great instructors the Royals have, I mean, they produce a lot of young, great talent. I mean,
you see it out there, yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Have you had a chance to meet many of the guys tonight? You mentioned motivating Billy to hit a home run, but
yeah.
The rest of the team?
I was down there earlier before the game, got to meet a lot of the guys. Hosmer, we've been texting back and forth here and there. And actually, his family's up in our suite right now, so that's pretty cool. Just getting to talk to them.
Yankees get an out at second base. We got to see something real fun for us in this series, and it happens so often, Bubba. But in particular, Johnny Giavotella grew up admiring Derek Jeter. That was his idol. And the next thing he knows, he's on the field with him. He was at second base on Monday, and Jeter comes over and congratulates him. Is there a guy that you admired, Royals or somewhere else, that might be a bit surreal, imagining yourself on the field with him?
Definitely Joe Mauer, just considering he went kind of through the same situation as, I had. But it's going to be kind of cool. Hopefully I can get up here, work as hard as I can to get up here soon and be playing in the same division as him if he's still there. And hopefully that'd be great to meet him. But definitely admired him growing up. Just he treats himself so greatly on and off the field, and I love the way he carries himself.
Yeah, it's been a while now. People have forgotten, but Joe Mauer had the option of playing baseball or playing quarterback at Florida State when he was in high school. And very similar to your story, he signed with the hometown team.
Right. He's one of our favorite guys. Yeah. And we love to watch him hit, too.
Well, hopefully we can get a win tonight.
Now, where do you think Alex Gordon was leaning? You think he wanted to watch you on Saturday, or do you think he wanted to have a locker next to you?
I'm sure he wanted to do a foul ball. I'm sure he wanted me to probably play up in Nebraska, but he always said he's a Husker fan before he's a Royals fan. But I'm sure he's happy for me for signing and everything. And
now we hear that it was down to like the last 30 seconds or like that. Was that pretty close?
Yeah, we had to wait on all the other guys to see what they were doing, as far as signing and all that. And it came down to me. I was the very last guy. So I was anxious to see what I was going to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I'm glad we got it done, like I said.
Well, we are too. And thanks I know it's been a crazy, exciting day for you. And thanks for sharing a few moments with us. Congratulations, Bubba.
Nice
Bubba, good luck to you.
Thanks a lot.
Royals first round pick, Bubba Starling. Royals lead 4-2 at the end of 4. Find the new Ford F-150 you're looking for at thoroughbredford.com. Royals 4, Yankees 2. Royals with a 4-run bottom of the third inning. Mark Teixeira, Robinson Cano, and Nick Swisher coming up in the top of the fifth. Teixeira has popped out, line to center. And ball one from Bruce Chen. We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. Johnny Giavotella certainly a candidate with his great play to end the fourth on a ground ball from Granderson. And Teixeira fouls out. He is 0 for 3. Tonight is a carsoup.com email the booth night. And with your questions, some of your questions, here's Joel.
All right, Ryan, let's start with Cooper Haight in Wichita, who asks, how do you think Bubba Starling will contribute to the Royals offensively or defensively? A lot of Bubba questions, wondering timetable, and we obviously can't predict that, but what do you guys think how he'll contribute down the road?
Well, I'm thinking, Joel, you're probably glad you're not getting any more of the Will Bubba sign emails.
Now it's how long?
Right. A quick shift. What do you think, Frank?
He's a very good athlete. When you're a good athlete, you got, especially guys who have played football, those guys seem to have a different mentality for mental toughness and getting things done faster than other guys, especially when you're a great football player. I kind of go back to Bo Jackson when he had very limited baseball experience. But once he got here, he was one of those guys that went through the system pretty quick. He was one of those guys that when you told him he couldn't do something, he figured out how to get it done. And I think Bubba Starling is that kind of guy. I think he's got baseball experience. He's a great athlete. He loves to compete, and I think that's where it starts. And you got to be a competitor to go out there every day and meet that challenge of the low minor league baseball.
It was interesting, guys, because we always hear from the Royals people, certainly after they drafted him and then signed him, but there are a lot of scouts here tonight watching the Yankees, and I was talking to a scout who said that he had seen him play in high school 3 times from another team, and he said that Bubba is a guy that can beat you 3 ways. He can beat you with his bat, his arms, and his legs. He said he runs like a deer, and I said, how about all the pressure? And he said, this kid's been playing in front of 60 to 70 scouts pretty much every high school game. He's used to pressure.
3-1 on Robinson Cano. And he will walk with 1 out.
All right, let's get to one here from Randy Koch, Omaha. Why the heck does it seem like every Yankees game goes 4 hours? Ryan, your thoughts?
Well, we tried to point out one of the problems in the first inning when we watched Robinson Cano and some of the other hitters that just don't stay in the batter's box. They take forever in between pitches. And part of it, too, is they're good hitters and they have long at-bats. That is a short inning. Nice talking to you, Joel. Halfway home, Royals lead 4-2. To the bottom of the 5th inning, and a look at our AT&T trivia question for tonight. Who are the 3 active players with the most career base hits versus the Royals? Well, I would think that would be one of them. But then again, you never know. Well, we were cut short of some more carsoup.com emails as Nick Swisher grounded into a double play to and the top of the 5th. So let's go back to Joel.
Well, this was an interesting one. I just want to pass on from Dan Galbraith, Lenexa. Wanted to know if anybody had ever pointed out that Royals Live spelled backwards is Evil Slayers. So Monty would like to, from now on, be called the Evil Slayers. Just wanted to pass that on.
Really?
Yeah. I mentioned it to Monty, and he said, then we shall be called the Evil Slayers. Anyway.
Slay Oars, right?
Yeah, well, Slay Oars.
Right.
It's close enough, though. You got to give him credit.
Yeah.
I don't know how much free time it took to do that.
Well, I was just thinking to myself, how come I've never heard that Royals spelled backward is Slayer?
Because it's Slay Oars.
Slay Or, right.
Sticking with the hard-hitting questions, James McElvey in Ogden, Kansas wants to know, Frank, if you ever ate a hot dog during a ball game.
Well,
and how long will it take Bubba Starling to get to the big leagues?
Yeah, not one that I was actually playing in.
He has up here in the booth, Joel.
That doesn't count.
Melky, right center field, and that's going to go all the way to the wall. His first hit, and he's going to try for 3, and he will make it as the throw sails over Cano's head. 10-game hitting streak for Melky Cabrera with his 4th triple of the year.
He picks on a fastball and it's down and in, just what he asked for, but he got the bat hit through it and drove it into right center field. And the one thing I've seen in this series so far, Ryan, is the cutoff and relays ain't working too good. I mean, the only way you have a chance to throw it right out, you got to hit the first guy. But this ball got airmailed, and you see Melky didn't have any intention of stopping at second base. He was going to third all the way.
Hot watch winner.
Yes, it is.
I'd also like to thank the umpires for spending some time on that review tonight.
That's where I'm going to, Joel. Thank you.
3:15. Thank you.
0-1 to Billy Butler, who, speaking of the review, was awarded a home run in the 3rd inning on a ball that we still can't figure out why it was called such. But Billy will take it. 2 for 2. It was his 15th home run and his 68th RBI.
Mrs. Gary Cooper. I'll let you guys go back to that replay.
This is what Ryan was talking about here, and you watch where this ball lands, short of the fence that where you have the green wall there, the wire, the green wall. The ball's got to go over. It stopped on the flat padding and came back into play, but it was awarded a home run.
I've not heard a complaint yet, or read a complaint yet on email from any Royals fans on that one. Mrs. Gary Cooper, Hutchinson, Kansas. Why do they change pitchers when one is doing okay? It seems a lot of times the new ones give up runs. And I ask this question, guys, because I get the same exact opposite question every night, too. Why do they leave the pitcher in so long? Why do they take the pitcher out so quick? It really is. There's a lot of strategy and a lot that goes into this, isn't there, Frank?
Well, it is a lot of strategy. A lot of it is matchups, right versus left, and vice versa. And if it depends on what stage of the game you're in. If it's the last couple of innings, 8th inning, you got your setup guy in there, and the setup guy does a good job, but then you got your closer for the night.
It's one of the aspects of baseball that will be debated every single night, more so in the National League with all the double switches, and you do see more pitching changes over in the National League. Bob Kunkel, Mound City, Missouri. What does it take for a pitcher to move from being a relief pitcher to being a starter? Obviously, that's on a lot of people's minds with the potential for some of those Royals relievers to be starters next year. Guys?
Well, Joel, I think you got to have 3 pitches for sure, and I think you got to be able to throw strikes, have command of your fastball, and have some stamina and be able to go deep in games. I think that's the big difference right there.
All right, Gary Cagle, Lee's Summit. Which major league stadium has the worst hecklers, and do they have an effect on the players?
Wow.
You always have to go to New York and Boston.
Philadelphia is not so good either.
Philly is one.
Yeah.
I think every stadium has its share of them, depending on where you're sitting and who the heckler is. I think every stadium has it, but I think the East Coast is probably a lot louder and a lot more in your face with what they want to say.
Philadelphia is famous for booing Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. They also booed Darren Dalton's 2-year-old kid one year because he wasn't playing well. And they
One ball, one strike.
They threw batteries at J.D. Drew.
And with the new ballpark, and we were there for interleague play, I want to say in 2004-ish. And if it wasn't tough enough in Philadelphia, the new ballpark, I mean, the visitors' bullpen is just surrounded by the crowd out in right center field. That's got to be the worst place in baseball to warm up, try and get focused for the game. However, if you can get through that, getting out on the mound would be a piece of cake.
Oh, definitely.
I've been meaning to get to this one, and it's come in a couple of times. Patrick Sullivan, Carmel, Indiana, wants to know for Frank, what happened to the mechanical rabbit that was behind home plate at Municipal Stadium?
Oh, it's probably in someone's basement somewhere, I would think. I do remember what he's talking about. The umpire used to step on a button, and the rabbit would come out of the ground with a basket on his head full of baseballs, and that's how he would get his baseballs off, get his new baseballs. And then they also had a button behind home plate that had there was an air hose that come up in the center of home plate. So they step on this button, it pops up and squirts a burst of air and cleans off home plate. So the umpire didn't have to go out and use his brush to do it. So they had a lot of innovative things that came by way of Charlie Finley.
And I would think a lot of people would want to come out to the games to watch a rabbit take balls out to the umpire and a burst of air clean off the plate.
But it was right.
Or watch goats out in the.
But it was right next to the umpire. He just came up out of the ground and he just reached in the basket and got the balls. But the goats, the lambs on Lamb Chop Hill, Charlie O, the mule.
Doesn't get any better than that.
They were there.
How long do you think it would take for us to get a rabbit to bring balls out to the umpire here? There's the suite that Bubba Starling is in tonight. Lonnie Goldberg up there visiting with the family.
No relation.
No relation to Joel. Yankees go down to second base. High throw from Teixeira. No double play, and a run scores. He didn't look 100% committed to that throw to second base.
Well, he got first and third right there. He checked third, but then again, really didn't get his arm back up. He threw from down to the side, and Jeter made a good grab and getting this high throw and touching second base, but couldn't really get that good return throw to first base to complete that double play.
So 5-2 Royals in the fifth inning, and Francoeur fouls it away. Francoeur hit a soft liner back to Colon in the second, which cracked his bat, and then he walked into third.
Dan Holmes in Olathe wants to know if the Yankees are playing the rest of the game under protest. Joe Girardi did come back out again. We have not heard that at all.
No, I think they would have to announce that to the crowd if that was going to happen. So we understood that it was a judgment call, and you can't protest a judgment call. That's how it was officially relayed to me here in the booth.
So there you go. Garrett Wilson, also in Hutchinson, what qualifies as a full rookie season for rookies called up midseason. And it doesn't matter when they're called up. Ryan, you may be able to help me on this one, but I believe it is 50 innings for a pitcher, and at bats I think are one.
You mean for a player, Joel?
Yeah.
I want to say somewhere around 72 games, somewhere in there.
No, it's at bats. It's at bats. It's innings pitched or it's days of service.
Yeah, I think it's around 72 days of service, somewhere in there, but I'm not sure about the at-bats.
Cano out at second. And this time the Yankees turn the double play, but the Royals add on another run. Thank you, Joel. And at the end of 5, Royals lead 5-2. The 6th inning. We remind you that Slugger's Blue Crew package is now half price, and for just $10, your package includes a powder blue batting practice jersey, a Royals cap, 2 Royals game ticket vouchers, and much more, all presented by U.S. Toy. Visit Royals.com/Blue Crew to order your child's Blue Crew package today. Bruce Chen was down 2-0 at the end of 2.5 innings, but the Royals came back with 4 in the bottom of the 3rd. 2 home runs. Alex Gordon with a 3-run home run. Billy Butler with a home run, which was reviewed. And the call stood, even though all the replays we showed reflected that the ball did not go over the screen past the outfield wall. And then the Royals just added a run in the bottom of the 5th inning on Eric Hosmer's RBI ground out. Not sure what his call was behind home plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Andrew Jones has walked, and he's been hit by a pitch. 2-2. Bad swing, and Chen's 2nd strikeout. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Who are the 3 active players with the most career base hits against the Royals? How about Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez,
Toy Hunter?
Drilled to left field. Alex is back, and Russell Martin hits his 13th home run of the year. Second home run for the Yankees tonight, and it is 5-3.
Let's take a good look at this. He tried to get it in, but left it out over the plate. Fastball. Russell Martin gets the bat hit through it. Good finish. The ball ends up in the Ross bullpen in left field.
Very deep but foul. 0-1 on Eduardo Nunez. How about Paul Konerko?
Good call.
Rodriguez down on 3 pitches. So Bruce has struck out 2 in the inning, 3 in the game. Doc Carruthers, our stage manager, suggests Jim Thome, who has the most home runs against the Royals, Maglio Ordonez, and Ivan Rodriguez.
We've got two of those.
I missed Ordonez, but I was thinking about guys in the division because of the unbalanced schedule. So Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, no. Brett Gardner 0 for 2 so far. And a curveball is down and away, ball 1. Bruce at 93 pitches. So Lewis Coleman starting to warm up in the left field bullpen. And it's 1-1 to Gardner. Two balls and 1 strike. And 3-1. Gardner 9 out of 19 in his first 5 games against the Royals this year. So it's a little strange tonight to not see him zipping around the bases. To Hosmer, down like a catcher, catches a strike, and the inning is over. The Yankees get a home run from Martin.
Is Tony Shower from Shawnee, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Tony will win $500. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Tony will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
There's Bubba Starling up there. He was just introduced to the crowd up on Crown Vision, a series of his high school highlights. And then his face up on the screen, and got a nice ovation from the fans here tonight. As the Royals will face Hector Noesi in a Chevy call to the bullpen in the bottom of the 6th inning. So Bartolo Colon, who had allowed 2 earned runs or less in his previous 5 starts, the Royals nail him for 5 runs in 5 innings. So a 2-run lead to the bottom of the 6th. Johnny Giavotella, Salvador Perez, and Mike Moustakas, 3 rookies coming up against Noesi. First time the Royals have faced the rookie right-hander. out of Esperanza in the Dominican Republic. One and one to Giavotella, who has struck out and grounded into a force out. Two and one. Three balls, one strike. Royals scored 4 in the third after falling behind 2-0 with Alex Gordon and Billy Butler hitting home runs, and then Eric Hosmer driving in a run in the fifth. 3-2. Noesi, 24 years old. This is his 20th appearance of the year. And he strikes out Giavotella. So a tough night at the plate so far. 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. But with his glove, he has the Home Depot defensive play of the game.
Well, this is Gio's best play so far. Diving stop in the hole and a nice soft leading throw to Bruce Chin to get a speedy Curtis Granderson coming down the line in the fourth inning. You know, it's a tough play to catch it, but it was even a tougher play to lead that pitcher.
Nice play by Jeter to get Salvador Perez, who grounds out to Jeter for the third time tonight. You can be part of Kansas City's 2012 All-Star team. Register now to be considered for the many 2012 All-Star Summer and All-Star Fan Fest volunteers. Apply to be a Kansas City All-Star now at allstargame.com. Mike Moustakas 2 for 2, a double leading off the third inning that hit the very top of the wall, hit the padding in right field. Bartolo Colon thought he had given up a home run. Moustakas coming around to score in that inning, and then he singled to right in the fourth and has added 8 points to his batting average. Two and one. Russell Martin telling Noesi to shake off a couple of signs, and then comes back with a fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike. And stroke to right field for his third hit. Thought about trying for 2, but Swisher makes a good throw back into the infield. And Mike Moustakas is 3 for 3.
Well, this tells a big story right here from Mike Moustakas. A fastball on the inner half. He doesn't get tied up. He gets a foot down. And see how far out front he meets the ball. And early in the season, that ball would have jammed him. It would have broke his bat. But he didn't get it on the sweet spot of the bat. But he got enough of it to get a line drive to right field. So 3 hits. A night of success for Mike Moustakas.
His second 3-hit game in the big leagues. He had a 3-hit game at Colorado on July 3rd. Escobar singled out the glove of Mark Teixeira in the third inning. Teixeira almost made another great play on Escobar. He made a fantastic play to save a base hit and a run late in the game last night on Escobar. Out in front of a slider, 1 ball, 1 strike. On the ground to Cano. He'll play it to first, and that's the inning. Royals lead 5-3 at the end of 6. And the Royals down 2-0. Coming to bat in the third inning, Mike Moustakas with a double. Alcides Escobar with a single, and Alex Gordon bringing them all home with a 3-run home run. And then Billy Butler on a controversial play ruled a home run, reviewed, and the call stood. So 4 runs for the Royals in the third inning. They added a run in the fifth. Yankees just scored in the top of the 6th, so 5-3 KC. And Bruce Chen, who gave up 3 runs in 6 innings, will hand the ball off to Lewis Coleman. Chevy call to the bullpen, and Coleman will be getting the top of the Yankees order. 38 games, 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 save, and that first career save came against the Yankees in New York. Derek Jeter's got his batting average up to 286 with 2 more hits tonight. So he is 7 out of 13 in the series with 5 RBIs. And Coleman in with strike 1. Oh, 2. Lewis Coleman and Melky Cabrera before the game tonight receiving their awards for being named the Royals Pitcher and Player of the month of July. Billy Butler a couple of weeks ago was named the American League Player of the Week, and he also received his award in front of the crowd tonight. Jeter with a half swing, base hit into right center, and Francoeur has to run deep to cut it off, and that's the 3rd hit for Jeter. So back on May the 11th, and Lewis Coleman picking up the save, and the Royals taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
A good weekend for the Royals there. Nice slice, backdoor slider to get that strike there, and come right back and get Swisher to get his first save. No, he threw that fastball right by Jeter. I mean, he had no chance on that fastball. Then he let that slider. It wasn't really a real tight breaking slider going down and away. It just sort of hung out over the plate. And Jeter was looking to hit the ball the other way and ran right into it and got himself a base hit. 0-2 pitch. You got to really bury that next pitch. You don't want the hitter to get that much bat on the ball in an 0-2 situation.
2-0 to Granderson, who hit his 34th home run in the first inning. His league-leading 95th RBI. He has doubled and scored, which gives him a league-leading 111 runs scored. and a league-leading 61 extra base hits. 2-1 from Coleman. The only time Granderson has been retired tonight was on the best defensive play of the game. Johnny Giavotella diving on the grass and shallow right. That was the first part of his good play. The second part was like a football quarterback leading his receiver to a spot, and the receiver was pitcher Bruce Chen, who caught the ball right as he stepped on first base.
And that's really, I mean, making the stop is definitely tough, but just being on your knees right here now, he's got to lead him, and it really was off balance when he made that throw. So it was really a great throw by Giavotella to hit a running Bruce Chen to first base.
And there was no room for error at all. I mean, Bruce didn't have enough time to catch the ball and then find the bag. I mean, catch with foot on the bag.
And you can see Eric Hosman was really hustling back to the base. He saw Bruce and broke off. But I mean, just a nice lead on that throw.
2 on, nobody out in the 7th inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White and Joel Goldberg, along with producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is T.J. McGinnis. Oh, 0-1 to Mark Teixeira, who was 0 for 3 against Bruce Chen, and that's news because Teixeira had been 9 out of 16, which is .563, and 6 of those 9 hits were home runs. One ball and 1 strike. Teixeira has grounded into 10 double plays this year. Jeter at second, Granderson at first with nobody out. Good pitch.
That was a nice hard slider right there from Lewis Coleman. And when you go back to Jeter's at bat 0-2, you would rather seen a harder breaking ball like that, like this slider here going down, rather than a slower one that stays up out over the plate. So an excellent pitch by Lewis Coleman.
And almost hit him on the elbow.
Well, you see what Salvador Perez was looking for, that pitch on the outer half, and he had to reach back. You know, see where the glove is off the plate, and he just held on to that one too long. And that's where that rangy catcher really helps you right there. With no effort in one over and making that play.
Struck him out. After taking a pitch up and in, Coleman goes soft down and away. 1 down.
Yeah, nice changeup. You don't see this too much from Lewis Coleman, but this is a nice changeup, good speed, going down and away from Teixeira, the left-handed batter.
Coleman's had a couple of impressive milestones in his rookie year. We told you about his first big league save at Yankee Stadium, and then his first big league win at Fenway Park. That was in a 14-inning game. Tonight, just trying to get the Royals through the 7th inning with the lead. Promising start for the Yankees with a single and a walk, and now 1 out to Robinson Cano. He has 4 RBIs in the first 2 games of the series, and all 4 of those RBIs were last night. Thing he could have done with that pitch was foul it away, as he did, way in on his hands.
Even Robinson Cano's got to smile a little bit because he hit this ball right on the screws too, but the ball was going in on him, and he just followed it right in and got the bat head to it. So that pitch there was a slider that stayed up. So I think if you want to throw that to him again, you want to throw the harder one that goes down underneath the swing. He got to that one way too easy.
Cano with one of the most impressive at-bats we have seen this year against Danny Duffy. 12-pitch at-bat. 8 foul balls, including 7 in a row right before the 3-run home run. Still 0-2. Final game of the homestand is Sunday. It's another family fun day Sunday. There will be live entertainment, face painters, a caricature artist, and much more in the outfield experience before the Royals take on the Red Sox at 1:10. For more information, visit Royals.com/Sundays. Royals and the Red Sox tomorrow. Luke Hochevar against Josh Beckett. Hochevar beat Beckett in the Red Sox in the final game of that 4-game series a couple of road trips ago. Cano strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Coleman.
Good straight fastball up, out over the plate. Robinson Cano was late on it. Good pitch by Lewis Coleman. When you see a guy like Lewis Coleman and you see the arm slot that he throws from, your eyesight thinks down a lot. And there's a fastball that jumps in on you right about eye level. And Robinson Cano could not hold up on that swing.
Nick Swisher has driven in a run, a walk, an RBI single, and he's rolled into a double play. It's like the ball has been disappearing on the Yankees against the last 3 hitters.
Well, they're not drawing much iron. They're not fouling many pitches off. Lewis Coleman deception is definitely working for him right now. Got 2 of the most dangerous hitters out. Now he's got to work on Nick Swisher.
1-1. Coleman trying to help hold it for Bruce Chen, as he did on Monday when the Royals beat the White Sox 5-1. Chen went 6 innings in that game, only gave up 1 hit to Chicago. Coleman pitched the 7th. He's got the 7th tonight with 2 on and 2 out. 2-1. Got to throw strikes to Nick Swisher. His walk in the first inning was his 76th. And only Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers, Jose Bautista of the Blue Jays have more walks in the league than Swisher. Originally out of the A's organization and drafted right in the middle of the Moneyball era. The era that emphasized so much on base percentage, hitters that hit for power but also took walks. In fact, he was drafted the same year of the Moneyball season, 2002. 3-1.
You know, the A's didn't believe in bunting much at all, and when I managed against with their team in Midland, Texas, when men were on base, they were a little more aggressive and swinging, but when there was nobody on base, it seemed like everybody took the first pitch. But when in RBI situations, they were about like everybody else. You leave it there out over the plate, somebody's going to make a pass at it.
And that's the fallacy of having a high on base percentage, that Nick Swisher's going to the plate right now trying to walk. I mean, if he gets a pitch he likes, doesn't want to take a swing like that. But guys who walk, with a rare exception of a leadoff guy who's trying to get on base with a walk, they just know what a strike is and what a strike isn't. If there's a good strike, they're going to whack it.
I say a walk is a byproduct of a good at bat, but nobody goes to the plate expecting a walk.
Full count, 2 outs. So Jeter and Granderson will be running. And Coleman strikes out the side. The tallest national monument in the United States and stands at 630 feet. It commemorates the nation's westward expansion. You can take a tram ride to the top for a bird's eye view of St. Louis. Below, you'll find the Museum of Westward Expansion, 2 theaters, and 2 stores. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. Lewis Coleman got himself into a mess in the 7th inning, giving up a single and a walk in a 2-run game with nobody out, but got out of it with tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment.
And did an impressive job of getting himself out of trouble, Ryan. He came back and he had a tough middle of this Yankee lineup, and he got Teixeira on a changeup, Cano on a high fastball, and a backdoor slider to Nick Swisher to get himself out of trouble. Very impressive. You know, that arch is pretty high. you ever go in there?
Now that's some analysis.
You ever go in
You know,
there?
that arch is pretty high.
Yeah, it is.
I have not.
It was in
I've
my
walked up to it.
It was in my mind when you were doing your reading, and I said, "Man, I've stood underneath it, but I haven't had the guts to go up in there."
Yeah.
Though.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Alex.
Well, this is like the St. Louis arch. You know, he's feeling really high right there.
That's about all you're going to see from Lewis Coleman. Now, we'll see more from his dad when he comes to watch Lewis pitch, but that's about the limit for Lewis. Alex tonight 1 out of 3 with a 3-run home run. Grounds it to Teixeira. He'll go to the bag, 1 away in the 7th inning. Fans, the next time you want to catch a Royals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Kansas City Royals. Melky hits it hard to Jeter. Low throw and a backhand swipe by Teixeira. And now Billy Butler with 2 hits and a walk, and his much debated home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Ruled a home run, reviewed, and by the look at our replays, it was not a home run, but the umpires came back out and ruled this a home run. There is no way that's a home run. But Billy will take it. And right now, it's the difference between this being a 1-run game and a 2-run game.
And that makes a big difference at 1 extra run.
And you can see the reaction of the fans up there. The fans were getting ready to celebrate a home run until they realized it didn't quite go out. On the ground to Cano. 3 ground balls for Noesi in the 7th inning. Inning, and let's take a look at the Panera scoreboard. A 3-hit shutout for David Price as Tampa Bay beats Boston 4-0. So at the moment, the Yankees have a 1-game lead in the East. Oakland defeating Baltimore. 2 home runs for Kurt Suzuki. Minnesota's out in front of Detroit. Jim Thome with his 601st career home run. Cleveland in front of Chicago. So if they can hang on, they would be 2 back in the Central, and if Minnesota stays in front of Detroit, Angels really need a win. They'd lead Texas 2-0 in the 2nd. Angels have lost 4 in a row. Texas has won 5 in a row, and the Rangers' lead in the West is at 6. There are your 2 new changes talking to one another. Chris Getz will be at second base for the 8th inning, and Greg Holland will be on the mound. Bruce Chen going for his 3rd straight win. Gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Lewis Coleman hits a scoreless 7th, and now Holland in the 8th. He'll get Jorge Posada, a pinch hitter, and then Russell Martin and Eduardo Nunez. This is Jorge Posada's first day as a 40-year-old. He is a switch hitter, but he has had an awful season as a right-hand batter. He's hitting 102. And 102 would be 6 hits and 59 at-bats. From this side of the plate, he's hitting 274. So Andrew Jones has been the DH against the lefties, and Posada against the righties. And Both times in this series when the Royals have made a pitching change, Joe Girardi has done the same thing with his DH. One away in the 8th. The final tally on our Sprint You Call It question: will a team win 100 games this year? 61% say yes. All of us agree that there will be a 100-win team. Joel and I went with the Phillies, and Frank going way out on a limb and saying the Brewers will win 100 games.
Well, right now they're ahead 3-1 in the 8th, so
there you have it.
They're making me look good against the Dodgers tonight.
Into right field, long run, Francoeur to the line, across the line for the second out. So a couple quick outs for Holland, and now he gets Eduardo Nunez. The Yankees depart for Minnesota after the game tonight, and they could get Alex Rodriguez back. That's the plan. The Yankees haven't quite decided yet whether he will immediately go back to third base or ease back in as the DH. He's been out with surgery on his knee. So Nunez and Eric Chavez have been keeping the position warm.
Oh, they're hoping to get Freddie Garcia back at some point also on this road trip, hopefully in Minnesota. He was cooking in his kitchen and somehow cut his finger, so I'm not sure. Carrots are tough to cut, you know.
Think that's what it was, carrots? I remember reading a story years ago that Freddie Garcia, on the day that he pitched, always ate chicken Alfredo. Remember we were talking about superstitions, and Wade Boggs would always eat chicken the day before a game. 1-2 on Eduardo Nunez. The Yankees, after tonight, have 11 games where they will face Minnesota, well below 500. Oakland, the same, and Baltimore, who has the worst record in the American League. Greg Holland, another very good inning for him. 7 strikeouts for Royals pitching tonight, and a 2-run lead.
Ready for Boulevard Royals Live. Hey, who said the Yankees get all the calls? Monty and I will talk about that disputed Billy Butler home run on the post-game show. Plus, we'll look at Bruce Chen's performance. A dominant night for Lewis Coleman and Greg Holland. Take your text questions, reaction. And here's one for you guys. I don't know if this has been confirmed or not as a rumor. Mike Moustakas, 3 hits tonight. His agent, Scott Boras, is in town. I think they're working on a lifetime contract.
Joe.
Wow. Joel Goldberg, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back again tomorrow night and the rest of the weekend. Eric Hosmer, and maybe Hosmer's name came up in those discussions. Another Boras client. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 0 for 3 tonight. He has an RBI. Hosmer, Francoeur, and Getz in the bottom of the 8th inning against Hector Noesi, who took over in the 6th for Bartolo Colon. The Royals scored all 5 against Colon, including 4 in the 3rd. Nunez way off the line and playing near the hole. He throws low, but Teixeira bails him out. 1 away. Tomorrow night, the team with the 2nd best record in the American League will be here, and it'll be Luke Hochevar against Josh Beckett, and that'll be a rematch of a Hochevar-Beckett game that took place on July 28th, and the Royals earning a 4-game split in that series as Hochevar beat Beckett 4-3. There you go. Red Sox fans are already starting to file in. 1 ball, 1 strike on Francoeur. 0 for 2 with a walk. Noesi tonight, very similar to Nate Adcock last night for the Royals. Now, the Royals had to go to the bullpen in the 4th, but Adcock turned in 3 scoreless innings. Noesi coming in the 6th as Colon only went 5, and he's trying to give the Yankees 3 scoreless innings. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Little bit outside. 3-2 with Getz on deck.
Yeah, it looks like Noesi wants to live on the outside corner to Francoeur. Doesn't want to give him anything to pull.
And Francoeur walks. And for the 2nd time tonight. Here's former Royals manager Tony Pena, who's the bench coach for Joe Girardi. Always good to see Tony, and Tony always giving us an update on how the kids are doing. And speaking of the Red Sox, Tony Pena Jr. is pitching in the Red Sox farm system. And as Tony put it, pitching very well. Fastball up into the mid-90s. I'll never forget. And I think you and I were doing the game together. Maybe it was split, but when the Royals needed to use a position player against the Tigers, and they brought Tony Pena Jr. over from shortstop, and he had a funky little arm angle. He was throwing in the upper 80s, low 90s, struck out Ivan Rodriguez, and everybody went, wait a minute, that was more than a fluke.
That really was. I was doing the post game then. It was I was down there in the dugout watching from the side. It was fun to watch. I mean, he had that low arm angle, he had a natural sinker, and he pitched really well.
First at bat for Chris Getz. He took over in the top half of this inning defensively for Johnny Giavottel, and that's the 2nd time that Ned Yost has done that in the past week, with the Royals leading late. So taking a little pressure off of Giavotella defensively and going with an upgrade with Getz. Francoeur started, stopped. And because of that, the Yankees turn a double play. So we go to the ninth. Joakim Soria against Gardner, Jeter, and Granderson. Alex Gordon with the Royals in front for good with our Chevy play of the game in the third.
Well, Alex Gordon picked out a 3-2 fastball from Bartolo Colon and hit it to the deepest part of right center field into the water fountain for a 3-run homer.
Royals added another run in that inning. And in the fifth, the Yankees scored in the sixth to make it 5-3. And now Joakim Soria shooting for his 22nd save. The Yankees will send up Brett Gardner, their number 9 hitter, Derek Jeter, and Curtis Granderson. Many teams with their number 9 hitter go for someone who's kind of a backup leadoff hitter, somebody who can get on base and run. And Gardner against right-hand pitching normally leads off. So we say the 9 1-2 hitters coming up. But with Soria on the mound, really, for the Yankees, this is the top of their order.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, having Jeter and Gardner back-to-back, you can't go wrong with that combination.
Gardner 0 for 3. Lined out to Eric Hosmer at first last time up. Joakim Soria has 9 career saves against the Yankees. He only pitched 1 inning against New York this year, and that was back in May. 1 inning, 1 run allowed. And even though he's an all-star and one of the premier closers in the American League, I'm sure a little more pressure here tonight because he is pitching in front of the major leaguer he admires the most. And it doesn't take very long to figure out who that is. Mariano Rivera, who saved the first 2 games of the series for the Yankees.
And that really tells you the youth of the Royals ball club when they get here and they face all their idols that they've seen play, and here they are on the same field and competing at the same level, and just making that transition from, not in Joakim Soria's case, but a lot of the young guys making that transition from the minor leagues into the major leagues and really convincing themselves that this is where they belong. And that's the hardest thing for young players to do.
Slow curve is pulled foul. And remember, go back to when Soria was struggling and for a week lost the closer's role. And there was a lot of discussion about his admiration for Rivera going too far, because Rivera throws that cut fastball and Soria throws a cutter. It is not a true lane changer, as they say, like Rivera's is. It cuts, not like Rivera's, but It took away from his other pitches. That is a foul ball. Everybody reacting, not realizing it's foul. So Soria had to decide that the cut fastball might be a pitch that he uses every now and then, but needed to go back to what made him an all-star.
Well, you're right about that. You got to stay with what works. And you see early in the year on a play like this, Moustakas probably would have looked at the umpire first and then tried to make the play. Now it's a reactionary play to him. Finish the play off and let the umpire make the call.
Brett Gardner has only one at bat against Soria before tonight, and he's 0 for 1. Still 1-2. Bruce Chen for 6. He allowed the 3 runs. Coleman a scoreless 7th, which began with 2 on and nobody out, but Coleman ended up striking out the side. And Greg Holland doing what Greg Holland's been doing this year, 3 up, 3 down, and he had a strikeout. 2-2 to Gardner.
Well, Gardner's really done a good job fouling off some pretty tough pitches, trying to stay alive in this at bat.
Hit to right field, and Francoeur squeezes it for the out. Don't forget, right after the game, we'll go out to Rival Sports Bar for Boulevard Royals Live with Joel Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery. And if the Royals hang on, Joel will have a guest from the field. And then highlights of the game, we'll hear from Ned Yost and other Royals players in the clubhouse. Derek Jeter, 3 hits, 8 in the series, 8 out of 13. Soria and Jeter, you ask. And Jeter is 3 out of 5 with a double. Right off the mask of Perez, who asked for the ball from home plate umpire Chad Fairchild, and Fairchild will determine that Perez needs a little more time.
Wow. You can only imagine how fast that ball is going in that short a period of time on a foul ball from the bat to the face mask.
Pretty good swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jeter not a home run hitter, but the momentum of that swing drove him across the plate and into the other side of the batter's box. Soria ready to go, so much so that Jeter making sure he's got enough time to settle in. Got him reaching at the rainbow curve, and it's still 1-2.
Derek Jeter's got that ability to slow things down with 2 strikes and just try to put the ball in play. So the big curveball didn't work as effectively on him as they say would be on a guy that's more of a power hitter, a free swinger.
Two and two. Well, nothing's happened yet that would threaten Soria and the Royals, but Yankees are sure making him work. He has thrown 15 pitches. 15 pitches to 1+ batters. Line drive to center. Melky into a dive, and it's in and out of his glove.
Well, you see, Cabrera comes in. It would have been a great play on his part, but the ball hits the heel, rolls to the top, and when that elbow hits the ground, it just squirts right out of the top of the glove. And when you really look at this play, it almost looks like one he probably could have stayed on his feet and tried to run through.
There's the Bubba Starling family. They're into this one. Bubba, center fielder. Introduced as a member of the Royals organization earlier today, joined us up here in the booth. So Jeter at first and Granderson at the plate. Now Granderson, with all those years in Detroit, he has seen Soria the most of any Yankee. 13 at-bats. He has 3 hits and only 1 extra base hit. That's a .231 batting average. A 4-hit game for Derek Jeter. Very close. 3-0. This will be the 20th pitch of the inning for Soria.
And this is probably a take situation for Granderson right here. Would try to get on base and bring up Teixeira.
That's called a strike. Granderson homered in the first inning, his 34th, his league-leading 95th RBI. Doubled and scored in the third. Lost another base hit on a great play by Giavitello at second base in the fourth, and then he walked in the seventh. Royals trying to end a 4-game losing streak. They have lost 8 of 9. Granderson lines it into right field. Francoeur up with it. Jeter holds at second. And the tying run is on with 1 out.
Well, you get behind, you throw a running fastball, and Granderson's strong enough to pull it back over second base in the right center field for a base hit. When you pitch behind, you got to give him some decent to hit.
And now Mark Teixeira, and you almost want to whisper when you say this. He is 0 for 4. He is 0 for 5 against Soria.
And one thing right now Joaquin needs to do is just get ahead, and he gets ahead, then he can utilize his pitches. Right now, he keeps the hitters in a pretty strong position as long as they're in control of the hitting count.
Two balls and no strikes. A 23-pitch inning. You got Brett Gardner after a long battle on a fly ball to right, and then a long battle with Derek Jeter resulted in the single to center that popped out of Melky Cabrera's glove, and then the Granderson base hit. 3-0.
This would be a different situation for Mark Teixeira right here, riding 3-0. He could be swinging here because he's the go-ahead run, and to get his pitch, he can go for it.
Instead, he walks, and they're loaded up with one out, and that puts the go-ahead run at first and the tying run at second. Robinson Cano to the plate, and Bob McClure is going to go out to the mound. Let's go down to Joel.
Ryan, I was talking with pitching coach Bob McClure today, and he told me that he believes Robinson Cano is the most exceptional player in the American League because of what he does offensively and defensively. Now he needs his star closer to retire the most exceptional player in the American League.
Well, Joel, 25 pitches for Soria. The most he has thrown this year in an outing is 29, and that was a while ago. That was May 30th. Cano is 0 for 8 against Soria with 3 strikeouts. 1 for 3 tonight. He has a 9-game hitting streak. He drove in 4 runs last night.
I think the one thing that's glaring right now about Soria is fastball command. That's the one pitch he needs for all of his other pitches to work. If he can't get the fastball over, it's kind of hard to find those other pitches and have them be successful.
It really appears that he has some sort of a mechanical glitch tonight because everything is missing to the same part of the plate.
Well, that's when you catch a sit behind the back leg of the hitter and try to get him back in the strike zone to some degree.
Fouled away by Cano, and that was out over the plate and up. A dangerous spot to Cano with 21 home runs, 85 RBIs. With 1 out, a single that popped out of Melky Cabrera's glove on a dive. Another single and a walk. Curveball squirted out of his hand. 2 balls and 1 strike. You get the feeling that Soria is still searching for a pitch that he can go to.
Well, he does have a slider and he does have a changeup. You haven't seen him much because he likes the curveball, but the slider might be a good pitch right here to try to get a ground ball if the fastball command is not going to be there for you.
Cano is grounded into 17 double plays. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's the 6th most in the American League. Look at that Fox tracks for Soria, and that about sums it up in this inning to Cano. A little bit of everywhere except where he wants it.
And the two pitches in the high in the strike zone, those are fastballs that Cano chased up, but just no actual strikes at all in this at bat.
Well, we've seen him get out of this before many times. And Cano slashes it foul. We'll do it again. .31 pitches in the inning for Soria, and he's gotten 1 out.
I don't know about the fastballs that Cano has swung at. They all seem to be beating him right now. I don't know whether he's got all speed in his mind, but every fastball he swung at in this at bat has actually beat him to the punch, and everything's been going off to the third base side, way off to the third base side.
Popped up, shallow left. Jeter tagging, checked with his third base coach, and Alex fires to third. So it's 5-4, and now first and second with 2 down.
Yeah, that's somewhat of a moral victory for Joaquin Sawyer right there, right? Every fastball he threw, Cano really beat him to the punch. And I think that fastball there, he didn't get much of that fastball either in his lazy fly ball to left field, but he never could get out in front of it. Just nice pitching job, recognizing the fastball was the pitch to go with. So you can see Alex does a safety thing here. Make sure you keep the runner at second base.
Soria and Swisher. 1 for 3 with an RBI tonight. And 1 for 3 against Soria. Might have been his best pitch tonight, but because he's been all over the place, hopefully umpire Chad Fairchild didn't give him the call.
He's got a 0 in, and I tell you that once you find out what they will call, you just go back to it, and I think if he gets another pitch in that area, he's going to get this next call.
Off of Perez's glove, and boy, how big is it now that Alex Gordon went to third and didn't try a throw to the plate and allow Granderson to move up.
Yeah, that was a huge play, just keep them running 90 feet from third base, and this is a fastball that gets away, and Perez reacted to it as almost as if he was expecting something else, and the fastball goes right by him.
It is a pass ball, so the Royals are still out in front. However, now the go-ahead run is at second base. And 3 balls and no strikes to Swisher. Jorge Posada's on deck.
By the way, Posada's been swinging the bat. I really don't see Sawyer giving in to Swisher in this situation.
4-pitch walk. It's made for great drama, no doubt about that. Royals are still in front. Hanging on to the edge by their fingernails, but still in front. And now Soria's control is so important because there is no place to put Jorge Posada. 1 for 3 in the past against Soria with a home run. In his other 2 at-bats, he struck out. He has batted once tonight. And he grounded back to Greg Holland in the 8th.
Yeah, Holland was able to get on his hands and get a lazy ground ball back to the mound.
When he batted in the 8th, we mentioned that today is his first day as a 40-year-old. And in many ways, Posada's career has been hanging on the edge by his fingernails. And it was just Saturday that Posada had a grand slam and a 6 RBI game. One ball and no strikes. Bob McClure has already gone out to the mound, so there's really nothing the dugout can do here. So Salvador Perez, the 21-year-old catcher, just in the second week of his big league career, figuring that Soria would have a moment to catch his breath.
Well, you can see what Perez was trying to do there. He wanted to get that fastball in on Posada, but Joaquin missed high in the strike zone.
Got the call. Posada shaking his head. Both of those pitches missed fox tracks, and they both missed up. Best pitch he's thrown in the inning. Maybe that's the pitch he can go to get Posada.
Well, he took the big loop out of the curveball and made it a little bit tighter. And you just gotta, when something's not working, you gotta go with something that is working. So he stayed with the fastball, I think, a little bit too long before he went to an alternative pitch other than the curveball.
Struck him out looking. So as everybody wipes the perspiration off of their hands, in the end, much ado about nothing. As Soria hangs on, he gets the save, and the Royals avoid the sweep, beating the Yankees 5-4. So Bruce Chan wins his third consecutive start. Another good night for the bullpen. Coleman, Holland, and Soria. And with the bases loaded, tying run at third base, this is how it ends. The day began with Bubba Starling signing his contract, officially becoming a member of the Royals organization. Bubba and his family up in the suite tonight celebrating that. And the Royals celebrate a win over the New York Yankees. Let's go down to the field, and here's Joel Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. As we see the man with his 40th birthday today strike out Jorge Posada, the 22-year-old Mike Moustakas with a 3-for-3 game. I know you guys have all the confidence in the world in Joakim Soria, and you expect him to get the job done, but how nerve-wracking was that inning?
Oh, always nerve-wracking. We're so confident when Jack gets on the mound. We know he's going to shut it down for us. But, the Yankees went out there and did what they had to do. They loaded the bases, and Jack came through for us.
How important was that third inning for you guys? You got it going, and then the offense starts to crank up a little bit just to get that confidence rolling. Absolutely.
Anytime we put up a big inning like that, we know our pitching staff's good enough to get us a win, and our bullpen's strong enough to hold us there. And Jack closed it out for us. That inning was huge for us.
Second 3-hit game for you in your young major league career. I know you've been battling hard every single day. How close have you felt like you are to having some of that success at the plate?
We're winning right now. We just got to win today, and that's really the most important thing right now. Whatever I'm doing at the plate is a product of what me and Sides have been working on. But most important thing tonight is we got the win. We get to go home happy.
We'll see you back here for the Red Sox tomorrow. Thanks, Moose.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, that is Mike Moustakas, a 3-for-3 game for him. He wants the team to get all the credit. It's a big win for the Royals, guys.
It sure is. The Royals put an end to a 4-game losing streak, and now they can focus on the Red Sox. 5-4 win. We'll be right back.